over 1,000 years are crumbling under Ottoman cannons. Your husband died defending the ramparts 3 days ago. Now Turkish soldiers are breaking down your door, and you're holding your infant daughter, knowing that what comes next will make his death seem like a blessing. For 6 centuries, the Ottoman Empire conquered territories spanning 3 continents, from the gates of Vienna to the deserts of Yemen. But there's another side to Ottoman expansion that historians have largely buried in dusty archives, a systematic approach to conquest that weaponized the most intimate aspects of human existence. When Constantinople finally fell on May 29, 1453, Sultan Mehmed's forces didn't simply loot and withdraw. They implemented what Ottoman military manuals called the harvesting protocol. Contemporary Byzantine chroniclers describe scenes that sound like something from nightmares, but Ottoman records treat these same events as routine administrative procedures. The protocol was ruthlessly efficient. Adult males over 12 were systematically executed, not in the heat of battle, but in organized groups after surrender. This wasn't about eliminating military threats. Boys as young as 6 were also killed if they showed signs of potential resistance. The Ottomans had learned that leaving male survivors, even children, created future problems. But death was reserved for males. Women and young girls faced something far worse. Ottoman military law, codified in documents that survive in Turkish archives today, established clear procedures for what they termed population processing. Women were immediately separated into categories based on age, physical condition, and perceived value. The sorting happened in public squares, often in front of burning churches or demolished civic buildings, ensuring maximum psychological impact on both victims and any remaining population. Young women between roughly 14 and 25 comprised the most valuable category. Ottoman records from the Constantinople conquest list 4,220 women in this group, each assigned a numerical designation and estimated market value. These weren't abstract statistics. They were human beings reduced to inventory items in ledgers that treated them like livestock. The second category included women between 25 and 40, considered suitable for manual labor but past their prime for other purposes. The third category, women over 40, faced immediate execution alongside the men, deemed too old to justify the expense of feeding and transporting. Children presented a special opportunity. Boys under 6 were taken for the Devshirme system, the empire's systematic program of cultural and religious conversion. But girls under 12 entered what Ottoman documents euphemistically called formation programs, designed to prepare them for specific roles within the imperial hierarchy. The psychological warfare embedded in these procedures was as carefully planned as any military campaign. Families were forced to watch the sorting process, mothers seeing daughters assigned to different categories, knowing they would never see them again. The Ottomans understood that this psychological trauma would spread throughout remaining populations, making future resistance less likely. Contemporary accounts describe how Ottoman soldiers would deliberately separate mothers from infant children, not for practical reasons, but to maximize emotional distress. Crying babies were often killed immediately, not out of cruelty toward the infants, but to demonstrate complete power over their mothers. The message was clear: resistance meant watching your children die. The scale of what happened in Constantinople provides a template for understanding Ottoman conquest patterns across their empire. Within 48 hours of the city's fall, approximately 50,000 people had been processed through these categories. 12,000 women and girls were loaded onto ships destined for slave markets in Bursa, Ankara, and other Ottoman cities. Another 8,000 were distributed among the conquering army as personal property. But the systematic nature of Ottoman practices becomes truly horrifying when we examine their documentation methods. The empire maintained detailed records because these weren't spontaneous war crimes. They were planned economic activities